Hi folks and welcome to my channel. This is Bree. I'm with Tamara Young today.
Hello.
This is Life Abuse Folks, and I hope everybody's doing good. How are you doing today, Tamara?
I'm good.
Good to know.
I'm good.
So today, folks, on this journey of life abuses that we face every day, today's topic will be psychological abuse from our police. So I will share my experience with the police, of course, in Newfoundland, how I was treated by the RNC, and how am I still being treated by the RNC. And I'll also, Tamara will also share her story as well. So how do you feel about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So I have had call police since 2020 regarding the abuses of my abuser, and right now I'm not gonna disclose the names because I have dispute against the RNC. I'm not gonna mention the names of officers, but I'm gonna talk about what has happened. So in 2020, police were called. I reported the crime. However, police decided to classified it as or under mental health. So my argument in that is as that if the police can classify the abuse and just switch it to mental health, to me that means that okay, if this person is mentally ill, must be apprehended and be put to a psychiatric place in the hospital facility. Because in my view, an abuser must be held accountable. You cannot, as an officer, you cannot say that, oh, that's just mental health. Like, what about me as a victim, though?
And
you know
I think,
what
can I comment on this?
Sure.
And the situation?
Yeah.
I think too, like, my take on it is like, this person, used this as a way to control you.
Okay.
So it was said mental health, right? But what the police aren't realizing is even though he, threatened, the threats were towards himself, it was a way to emotionally manipulate
Abuse
you
me.
into
Exactly.
staying.
Exactly.
And that is a form of abuse.
Exactly. It is psychological
And that's what the
abuse.
police are missing here.
I did mention to them that, I was leaving. He said that if I'm leaving him, then he's not gonna handle things well. That was in 2021, in November of 2021. Oh, no, that was in November 2021.
Okay.
Sorry, hang on a second. That was in November. So in 2020, he said that if I am leaving, going back to the shelter, then he's gonna kill himself.
Which is a way of controlling
me. And I took every document. I wanted to my document and everything that was important to me in a safe that he locked it, and he changed the password. I did not know what was the password. I'm like, okay, can you unlock the safe because I need my stuff? He's like, no, you're not gonna get it. I'm gonna burn this house to nobody's gonna make it here. No cop will make it here because I'm gonna kill myself. I'm like, are you serious? He's touching my belly. I was pregnant at that time. He's like, oh baby, I didn't want to do this. Daddy loved you so much. Blah 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 blah. I still have evidence of that.
Yeah.
So prior to that,
because I mean, if he was gonna kill himself, he'd be dead.
Exactly.
Right, but yet he is here.
He used
still
I'm gonna
alive.
kill myself and then whatever, just to
Yeah.
emotionally abuse somebody else. However, a night before that, I dialed 911 because he threatened to kill himself because I recorded him being a threat to me. I was pregnant. He was punching the wall, screaming at me, blaming me for the accident that he caused just to stop me from going back to the shelter.
Which is also very dangerous for you carrying a child.
He did not care that I was carrying a child and he was abusing me.
Yeah, it's wicked.
He's a woman beater. He's a rapist.
Yes.
And he's an emotional abuser.
Yes.
And he's good at manipulating people.
Especially the police.
Those ones. So now the police, I did call the police actually to ask about those incidents in the year of 2020. And I'm not going to mention the name of this officer. He was very rude to me. And I did mention something to him because he was becoming so intimidating and would prevent me from speaking, and he was becoming, unprofessional. I did mention that to him that, oh, officer, this is so unprofessional coming from you as a police officer. And then I also did mention towards the end when he calmed down, that I don't do well with threats, especially coming from a police officer. You are a person of authority. You know what I'm saying? My belief is that your duty as an officer is to serve the public, not to intimidate me and threaten me and silence me and shut me off from pressing charges against my abuser. So my confusion in Newfoundland with the RNC is as that I don't really understand that the police officers would rather risk their badges in the name of protecting a well-known abuser. Why would a police officer risk in the uniform, in the badge, risk that badge and the uniform that he fought so hard many years to get into the policing industry to serve the public, and then you're going against your oath? Because police, you took an oath to serve the public and you are not doing it, especially here in Newfoundland. You RNC, you are intimidating us as victims, and you don't want to hold our abusers accountable. Our abusers are out there, are free of charge, not being held accountable, and it's okay for you, as you took an oath as a police, to serve the public? I'm very disappointed with the RNC. However, I have few officers that I'm very disappointed in their stand. However, there are also other officers that I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt, because they're still, investigating and stuff like that. Some officers, I'm like, wow, I'm proud of them. Yes. But yeah, so to carry on with this, another officer, it was a female officer. So last year when my abuser had breached the EPO, I went to the court. I'm not going to mention which court because, there are two courts here. In one building there are two courts, so
we'll leave it to your imagination.
Exactly. So I came there and then I went to the RNC. I'm like, okay, this is information that, if my abuser breached the EPO, like I said, then, I can still report it and he must be charged. And this female constable, we had a chat. She did not write anything. I mentioned that I'm here to charge my abuser for breaching the EPO. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so this RNC constable's like, oh, okay, have you got your belongings? Because she knew she knew that my belongings were held. Yeah. Prior, in the other incident and stuff like that. It's like, oh, have you got your belongings? I said, no, till today I haven't got my belongings. It's like, oh, wow, this is so bad. I'm gonna reach out to him and see if, he can give me as a police, some stuff to give it to the child or something like that. And she was going back and forth from the office and to the other place and coming, back. It's like, well, I'll see if I can lay charges and stuff like that. She never took no statement, nothing. She kept going back and forth, and then she came. She's like, oh, hey, another officer will come. And, before that, she took my phone. She read the text messages my abuser sent to my aunt through WhatsApp, because he was manipulating my family to get involved and, talking to me to go back to him like he did before.
Which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, I know. Oh, the EPO mentioned that he must stay away from me.
He must not send you messages.
Yep, directly or indirectly, and he did it because he was thinking that I'm vulnerable and he will continue to dominate me, control me, and abuse me and the child because he seized everything. What kind of a parent in the right mind would seize the breast milk of the child? That I pumped a lot of breast milk, which was worth a year.
It's pretty despicable and gross that he would steal your breast milk.
Breast milk of the child that I should be feeding I should be feeding the child. Why would you seize the breast milk of the child? And diapers, amount of diapers that I bought you know what I'm saying, to cater for the child. That those diapers could have, you know, took maybe 6 months or something. And also potty training diapers that he kept, he seized. Clothes of the child, storable food, my clothes, my shoes, everything. Even my food. I came from in British Columbia, African food. I came from in British Columbia. He seized everything because he was vindictive. And the police asked me, did you get? I said, no. Mind you, police were told as well when I got the EPO that, or I called them to get a police escort to go get my belongings, and they said that he denied that he has my belongings. And
what does that have to do with anything?
Just because
you know
he
denied.
They
should have went in and checked.
I know, just because he denied, they're like, okay, it's a civil matter. Why would you take his word? Like, you're not taking my word that I have my belongings and he sees them. And then you are failing to do your job as an officer.
That's absolutely insane.
I know. Yeah. So the officer's like, oh, I will reach out to him and see if, you know, I can get some of the belongings to you.
Did that ever happen?
No, never happened. And she left. It's like, oh, some officer will come and, you know, talk to you. Nobody came and talked to me until I left the building. Like, it was not right away. I stood still. Nobody came. Which is very shocking. I can mention the name of this constable. It's a female constable, but not right now because I reported her. And I reported some other officers as well. So yeah, and then another officer as well. So when this incident happened, in February 15th of 2022, when my abuser had attacked me by grabbing me and pinning me down the couch and stuff like that, assaulting me, and I had to bite him for my self-defense. So the officer who was there that day, up to today, hasn't done nothing to lay charges. I'm being given a runaround by the RMC.
What's so crazy to me too, Bree, is like, it is not the police's job to prove this person guilty or innocent.
It's the job
It is
of
the courts. It is the court's job.
In my country, when you are charging somebody, you go to the police station, you charge somebody, the police ask you, do you have evidence? And then you say yes, they press charges. They don't get involved. And it's your responsibility to present your evidence in the court of law.
Exactly.
So in Newfoundland, police require so much evidence in order to lay charges against your abuser, and they will confront your abuser they will intimidate you and ask your abuser. Obviously, he will deny. Who in the right mind will say yes? Well, I'm sorry, but your abuser did say yes, right?
Well, my other abuser, my ex-husband, said yes to the police.
He was an honest man.
Yes.
Because he knew he did it. You know what I'm saying? And my abuser had never, ever had to admit something other than manipulating me. There are things that he admitted to me, which I recorded because it was too good to be true. I did record because most of the time he will say things and deny it. So that time around, it was in 2020 when I was pregnant. He was manipulating me. I was in the shelter. After he abused me and stuff like that, he assaulted me, kicked me out of the house. I'm pregnant, and he was manipulating me to come back. So I had to record for my own safety and for my own records. Whenever he's like, "Oh, I did not say that," and then I can actually go back and say, oh, actually you said it here. Why are you denying
it?
And
I feel like what Bree did is the best way to defeat a gaslighter. You know what gaslighting is?
Yeah, gaslighter. Yeah, he's the biggest gaslighter.
Yeah, someone who will do something and then say to your face, like, I didn't do this, to try to question your reality, to make you feel like you're crazy. So if anyone is going through that situation, record. For yourself. For yourself. Not even for court, because I know you didn't do that for court.
I did. You know what? I wish in my mind I had the court, because if I had the court, then I would have recorded a lot of things, and I would have prepared my recordings. That okay, my recordings are strictly for court. Yeah. But in my mind, it was not about that. It was for me to have records. Then if he denies it again in the future, I have already something that he admitted.
It's so heartbreaking too that you felt the need to do that.
Oh, I did. I have a bunch of recordings. I think 16 of them went to his lawyer. And I have more recordings, I have more evidence. However, I'm not talking about the court, whatever. We are in the RNC and the pretty much corruption, I would say, because they are protecting the abuser, especially my abuser. They protected him. In my understanding about what's going on is that they don't want to piss off the father of my abuser, who is was a city councilor, and my abuser, the fact that he has a background of the military, also that gives him grace that the RNC would not wanting to do anything, and they will use his mental issues as a cover-up.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, sure.
I also feel like there is a huge stigma against sexual assault and all these things, because they say that, so many women, make fake reports. So I feel like when you go to the police station to report a sexual assault, at least in my experience, they make you feel like criminal. Right? And it's like they're trying to scare you into not pressing charges. So the system really isn't for victims. The system is for criminals. It's for criminals. 100%.
Wow. So why the system is there then?
I don't know.
Wow. So I'm really at this point disappointed with the few RNC constables that I dealt with. However, not all. And I do believe that some are doing their job and some are, not doing their jobs, because they pretty much took the oath, and they are not following up to the oath that they took to serve the public. They are there for the peace and to maintain peace and order in the society, in the community. However, I felt in my case that I was not served. They did not do anything to protect me other than protecting my abuser, who should have been accountable. But the RNC is using, his mental instabilities or mental issues against, they are using his mental issues to protect him, pretty much. And I did not know.
Of shit, because he doesn't even have mental issues. He's a psychopath.
Which
is, I guess, a mental issue.
I did not even know that he has mental issues. The sickest thing ever that happened to me is that he married me so quick. It was in April 5th,
That's
2020.
Yeah, 2020. Want to rush?
2020. May, he was pressurizing me that he wanted a baby. I'm like, we just got married. What's the rush? What's going on? It's like, I have a child that, I'm not able to see. The mother took me to court, blah, blah, blah. I want a child. I'm like, not right now. We just got married. And you are abusing me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, I got pregnant. But before then, he was using my, the fact that I'm not from here, telling me that, I'm going to get deported, There's messed up messages that I could disclose right now, but for the sake of what I'm going through, the dispute in court and everything, I'm not going to mention those things. So to me, I'm not gonna go to my case because, I'm being.
Yeah, you're directing. This is the RNC.
Yes, RNC. Yeah.
And how they don't help.
So I have a bunch of evidence, and I feel mistreated as well, more mistreated. And for me, I regret, being here. And the only reason I came from the United States to here. Mm-hmm. So in my understanding, in my belief, I believed that here it's safe. I left United States, I came here, and then now, fast forward, me being abused, that I'm not from here, it's used against me in every way possible, in my case. Not in my case, court, whatever, but, what's going on is just pretty messed up. Yes. I don't wish this for anybody to happen, and it's, for me, I'm ashamed, and, it's shocking that it's happening to me in Canada.
Yeah, it is shocking. It is shocking. Canada is supposed to be free. They tell everyone to come here. They're letting all these immigrants in to give them a better life. And then they treat you like you're a criminal because you come forward against one of their people,
So, yeah, I'm very disappointed with the officers that dealt with me, that had mistreated me. However, I am also happy about those officers who are doing their due diligence to serve and to investigate and to do whatever they can. But to those officers that are there to intimidate, to threaten, to silence victims, shame on you. Oh, by the way, another thing, I spoke to another female constable, and and then I said, oh, by the way, now I'm recording. When I speak to them, I record, because what happened is I spoke to another constable, and then I was invited to come to the RNC police station for a statement, because my abuser had assaulted me again during the parenting time. But I'm not going to go into that. And I went to the police station. I mentioned what happened. The police took a statement, and they asked me about other past incidents. I mentioned them. However, I think it was 2 weeks later or a week later, I followed up. When I followed up, these constables said that, oh, well, the constable so-and-so is investigating blah, 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 the incident, that happened. I'm not going to mention the place. And then, and then that constable did call me, talk about that. And we went to that facility, and the footage was not shown of him getting in there.
Which is so crazy.
Which is really crazy. And I'm being silenced and intimidated here. And this footage does show me coming in with my child, and I'm there with my child, but it does not show when he came and get the child and left.
That's really creepy.
So, and then we talk about that, and the officer is like, oh well, I don't see it, I don't see the scene, so I don't have any grounds to lay charge here, because I don't see. And it's like, oh, you have other charges against him anyway, you should focus on that. And then he said to me, well, in order to, I said I will request the footage, because they also promised me that they will give me a footage of the facility. And then they said, oh, well, there's no reason that we should not give it to you, because it's yours, you are there, right? So when I was talking about that, the officer said, well, you need a court subpoena to get the footage, and also it's either you need a subpoena from court to get the footage, or you need a police warrant, or you need a lawyer to get the footage. We cannot just give it to you. And then the officer said, just focus on other charges, because you charged him, so you have a lot of charges against him, so just focus on that. I'm not going to lay any charge right now regarding this. So, and then I called the RNC as well to find out about the other charges, and then I was told that, well, by a female constable, that, oh, well, the officer that you spoke to is the one who's investigating. I said, he told me that he's not investigating other charges. He was only investigating what took place at the place on January. And I was told by this constable that, oh, hey, this is what I'm telling you. I don't know what you're telling me. What I'm telling you is that officer so-and-so or constable so-and-so is the one who's investigating the whole charges. I told the constable that this is what the constable told me, that he is only responsible about the portion of what had happened at the center there. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she just, the tone, you know what I'm saying? And then it's when I'm like, okay, now I have to start recording them, because now they are saying something and then somebody's telling me something else. It's conflicting messages. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I did talk to this constable. I said, oh, by the way, I'm recording this. And she's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I said, what's your badge number? She told me the badge number. And then I said, by the way, I'm recording you because I feel like, I'm being conflicted here. You told me something, and another officer is telling me something, and right now I'm in the confused mode as to what's going on here, right? So the officer said that to me. Well, do you want to speak to my my supervisor? I'm like, for what? It's like, oh, because you are telling me that you are recording. I said, yes, I am recording, and I may do something about this. I will file a complaint against, because I'm not being treated fair. It's like, oh, okay, you can speak to my my supervisor, surgeon, whatever. So this surgeon called me. He's like, oh, hey, Miss Brilliant, I heard that, the constables, so and so said, that you were recording. I just want to let you know that, I mean, he was trying to pretty much like calm me down so I can just shut up and not like, and be obedient and just let them walk all over me and do whatever they are doing, which is not protecting me. It's like, you know what, you can complain about things, but I want to let you know that how things go here, that, if you have something like a charge, we investigate it, and then after investigating that, if we see that, a charge needs to be laid, then we proceed. So if you have issues with that, or how we do things, or if you have any issue with the officer, you can complain about it. But and it's like, he's gonna call me back, blah blah blah, and he never did call me back. So I'm very confused with the police, because most of the time they will tell you if you have a problem, call the police. So if the police cannot do anything about your problem that you are facing at a certain time, they are not protecting you, they are just run around not doing anything, to me it's questionable.
It's very questionable. Very, very questionable.
So I'll give you a chance, because I've been blah 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 blah.
No, I think it was good. Everything you said needed to get off your chest. Yeah. I feel like emotional.
Sorry.
Because I just feel so heavy for you and what you're going through, and like, it's heavy stuff.
It is. I don't know, because I feel like it's because I'm not from here. I'm an immigrant. That's why I'm being treated like this.
Yes and no. I had a very similar experience, which I'll get into with the police.
Okay.
So, for me, when I went to the police, they never did anything. They never took me serious. I had to go into a room with a guy police officer and tell him like what had happened from the beginning to the end, and I'm talking about my sexual assault.
Wow.
And they made me tell them the whole story, and the whole time they were like questioning me and like kind of making me feel like ashamed. And then when I told him about how he threatened my life and took out his penis, the police officer was like, "Why would he do that?"
Wow.
Just like as if I would know. And one of the other things that the police try to do is they'll try to intimidate you. So they said, like, if it comes back that you're not telling the truth, then you're the one that's going to get charged for making a false police report. So it's just so heartbreaking that, like, taking myself out of the equation, like, being raped is traumatic, being recorded is traumatic.
Without your consent.
Without my consent, which is also illegal if you don't know. Being recorded without my consent, and then knowing that people heard it, including the police, was very traumatizing. And then standing alone. So going to the police, in my opinion, about rape, especially, is probably one of the most traumatic parts about the whole experience, because they re-violate you at the police station, and they make it seem like you are the criminal. So they did not press charges. And then I got a call from the police one day that were saying, like, you need to stop saying that so-and-so raped you, or we're gonna, like, pursue charges for slander. And I said, well, it's not a lie, like, he raped me, so why can't I say it? And they're like, well, you haven't pressed any charges. And I'm like, well, and I said to the police, I said, well, I'm gonna come down there now and press a charge. And the police officer said to me on the phone, she was like, well, I just listened to this person's recording of you, and I don't think you got a leg to stand on, like, we don't believe you, so don't even bother, basically.
Wow.
And I just remember feeling, like, really defeated, and, like, heartbroken. So yeah, the police never stood by me. They see stuff in such a black and white way. There is no black and white when it comes to rape. There is none, especially when it's someone that is intimate, like if it's a boyfriend or a husband. It's not like you're just walking down the road and some rapist attacks you, right? It's so much bigger than that. You have emotions that come into play. You have vulnerabilities that come into play. Yeah. You have humanity, humanness. All those things come into play, and I feel like the police need to be more educated on rape, on sexual assault, especially relationship rape and marital rape. They need to, learn about this because it's happening. And this is the reason why so many rapes go unreported. Because the police make you feel like a bag of shit.
Exactly.
Make you feel worse.
Just to comment on that, in the Constitution under the criminal codes, it does mention about the intimate partner rape. It's there. There's sanctions for that.
They don't really know though.
It's that they should know.
They do know.
They should know the law.
But they don't know. What I'm saying is when you tell them that somebody that you slept with in the past raped you, they're like, well, how can he rape you? You already had sex once. Doesn't matter if you've had sex a million times. If you say no, no means no.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that violation of someone like touching you without your consent.
The consent.
It's a violation. It doesn't matter if you've had sex a million times before in the past. So that is what I'm saying. Like if you tell the police, and for me, I'm very honest.
Yes.
Open. I know, too honest. Genuine person. So I told the police my whole truth. I told them the whole story.
Yeah.
I told them from A to B to C to D. I told them everything that I did that was a mistake, and I told them everything that he did. And it didn't go in my favor. Like, I should have just went in there and just said that he raped me. Like, I shouldn't have went into all of the truth.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, they didn't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
The truth was too complicated
It's really sad that when you are telling the truth, they use it against you.
Sorry about that. We got cut off. It was too long. But I'm just going to start here, and hopefully I don't overlap with what I said. I don't know where we left off, but basically what I was saying is, like, the police don't acknowledge that there's a whole, like, whenever something happens to somebody, you know, whether it's rape, abuse, whatever, there's always a whole picture to look at. Yeah. So for me, in my genuineness, because I am a very genuine person, I always have been, I just told them like it was. Yeah. You know, I didn't hype it up, I didn't tear it down, I just said it exactly what happened. And they used it against me big time. And the recording though, like for the police to say to me, oh, well, we heard a recording of you, and you know, as far as we're concerned, he didn't do it.
That was the job of the judge, not them.
Exactly, and it was also very degrading. And very, like, humiliating for me. And just, like, this man is so wicked, you know? He's so wicked. Yeah. And I think he's manipulating the police, too. Like, yes, I do believe the police, like, are accountable in this.
Yep. But
I also understand the police to a degree. Because this person that, like, I'm talking about is so manipulative. You know, he was able to get me in his car to record me saying exactly what he needed me to say, to throw it in my face every time I say, you raped me.
And you did not know he was recording?
I did not know. I did not know, no. Never. I found out after, when my friends told me, the ones that believed me, the first people I told that I was assaulted were like, well, Tamara, like, we heard a recording of you that says otherwise. You know, he showed my boyfriends. Lots of people. So, and that's what the police heard. And that is what the police based the, oh, he didn't do it off of. Which to me is not right. Because anybody in the right mind can know that you can be manipulated into saying things. Exactly.
And to comment in their recording though, so it's not just you said stuff out of the blue. He said stuff first.
Yes. He manipulated me, you know. First he started saying, you ruined my life. This one thinks I'm a rapist, that one thinks I'm a rapist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm very empathetic. I felt so bad for him, girl. So bad. And I said, you know, you might not have raped me, but you took advantage of me. And I told the police what I said. Yeah. And this is my issue. I tell the police too much. I said, you know, you might not have raped me, but you took advantage of me. And it's because I was thinking to myself, like, Tamara, don't portray yourself. You know he did something wrong to you. You can't just say he did nothing. Yeah. So part of me was trying to end the dispute. And then the other part of me was naive and hoping that he was being genuine.
No, he wasn't.
Because then I know that now. Because then he started saying, you know, I love you, I'm sorry, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this is, I believe, when he started to record. When he had broken me down enough that I started to buy his bullshit. So yeah, I told him what he wanted to hear. And he recorded me saying it. Biggest mistake of my life. Because then after, and this is the part I told the police, I said, okay, well, I don't know what he showed you in the recording. I said, I know that I said this. I said, I've never heard it personally. To this day, I've never heard the recording. But I could just imagine what it says, as I remember that night. But I remember he took me up behind my aunt's house. So he was supposed to drop me off to my aunt's. He drives up behind her house. And at this point, I'm like, okay, obviously, and I'm telling the police this, okay? So I'm like, officer, obviously, he's not really sorry, and I'm in shit. I was scared. I didn't know what he was going to do. So he goes up behind my aunt's house, and I can show you what he did. He put his arm like this, and he pinned
Whoa.
me. He pinned me against the car seat, the back of the car, and he looks at me, and he goes,
I believe you.
It would be easy.
He did the same thing with me.
Right?
Yep.
He said, it would be easy. So, of course, I considered that a death threat, like you would, but the police, they didn't say it that way. They were like, well, he didn't come out and say, he's going to kill you if you say anything. And I was like, okay, so if someone pins you against a seat...
He had no reason to even touch you. There was assault right there.
Exactly, but if someone pins you against a seat and says, it will be easy, by your throat...
That's assault
that is
right
but
there.
It's also a death threat.
Yes.
I don't understand the police. They're so stupid. Anyway, and I was like, okay... But then and I told the police officer, I was like, then he took out his penis and he wiped it off. He was turned on by making me feel scared. You know what I mean? And then we drove down to my aunt's house. We're about 2 meters away. And this is what I told the police. So the police, they have no imagination. They're just so by the book, right? We're 2 meters away from my aunt's house. He says, okay. He's like, enough of this. I didn't rape you. We talked about it. I didn't rape you. So I'm telling the police officer, I'm like, okay, so we're 2 meters away from my aunt's house. He makes me call his friend, okay? And he's like, okay, you know what? I didn't rape you. You said I didn't rape you. Just move on with our lives. I want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, call this person. I won't say any names. Call this person and tell them it was a misunderstanding that I didn't rape you. So that's what I done. I did what he wanted. And I regret it to this day, but unfortunately, I was very manipulated.
And threatened.
And I was threatened. When I made that call, that was after he threatened my life. So obviously, I'm going to do what he wants, right? But the recording, that was before he threatened my life. That was just out of pure manipulation. So you can see this person's smart. He's manipulating the police. He's evil, wicked man. But... I believe that, God is going to vindicate.
Vindicate, yes.
I believe the truth is going to come out. This happened 6 years ago to me, and the police were absolutely horrible to me. So I want justice for that as well, actually.
We live at different times in our world, like I normally say on my theme, and it's really unspeakable what has happened to me when police were watching and cannot do nothing. It's really unspeakable what I have heard you say in your testimony as well, of what you went through, and the police did not do anything.
No.
So in my view about what had happened to me, what had happened to you, what had happened to other people out there, what the police stand? If they are there to serve the public, are they serving us as the public?
I don't think so.
Then why are they then?
I think it's for 2 reasons. I think that it's the burden of proof, which needs to be thrown out. Because in my personal opinion, other things prove things. For example, after I was raped, I changed. I had anxiety. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't dress up. I gained a bunch of weight. The signs were in how I lived after that assault, how it changed me as a person, and the people.
And you were still young.
I was, and the people that knew me before and the people that knew me after can testify to that. So that is where the signs are. That is where the proof is, and that's what the police don't understand. Sometimes the proof isn't simply that you have exact proof that you were raped or that this person did something. A lot of times the proof is in how you've changed as a person, how your behavior changes. How you see yourself changes. Those things are proof that something happened to you.
Wow.
The police need to get with the times, realize that rape is not black and white. That's my stance.
Exactly. So some of you police officers don't, when you intimidate us, like you had intimidated me, intimidated her, intimidated other people out there, you don't really know that a complaint against you can be filed and you can literally lose that badge you have. The fact that you are wearing that uniform and you are a person of authority, you are using that uniform and the badge to intimidate victims, guess what? You can lose all that. Simple. Because you took an oath. You have an obligation as a police to serve the society. According to the public safety of this country, you have an obligation to serve. So by intimidating victims, really it's not, you are stating the reputation of your RNC.
And it's a shame.
It
Because,
is.
you know, you guys are supposed to help victims of sexual assault. You know, and when I charged my ex-husband, I had a wonderful police officer. I don't know if it's appropriate to say his name, I won't, but he knows who he is. He was amazing. He took me so serious, and a lot of it was because my ex-husband literally confessed to the police.
Exactly.
But he was so good, so supportive, so kind, and there are good police at the RNC.
Exactly. I met some good officers
but
as
I
well.
understand, because when I went to charge so like when I went to charge him,
Yep.
you know, the police were just downright awful to me. And for the police to call me and intimidate me to say, like, you need to stop saying this, that was just ruthless. That was absolutely ruthless. But that is what this person does, is he uses the police, he uses the court, he uses the church, he uses anything that can be in his favor to control and silence his victims. And, like, this is kind of off topic, but I often wonder, like, what is he getting out of this? Like, it must be exhausting to have to be two people, to have a double life, to be, you know, a charming, charismatic person to others, and then have such a dark side in you, such an evil in you, to have to cover that up and keep fighting and fighting to keep your reputation. Man, that gotta be a full-time job.
Exactly. But I think that everything just is intertwined with the psychosis and mental illness that he has.
See, and I respect your belief on that.
Okay.
I fully respect your belief. Personally, I dealt with this person. I think he is just a sociopath. Psychopath, sociopath, selfish, narcissistic.
Exactly.
You know, wants what he wants, does not take no for an answer.
Exactly.
And I think now that all this stuff about mental health and all this is coming out, he's using that. Because like I said, he uses the police, he uses the church.
Okay.
He uses, you know, whatever he can use to get away with his crimes. And now he's saying, oh, you know what? I can just pretend to be mentally ill. To me, this person is too smart to be mentally ill. Because when someone is mentally ill, premeditated and mentally ill don't go together.
Exactly, because he premeditated things before.
Premeditated, right? So he premeditates, he's smart, he chooses his victims. He chose me when I was 15. Unfortunately, he sought you out, brought you here. You know, he seeks...
Because he thought I was vulnerable.
Exactly.
To stay here.
Exactly. He seeks out his victims. And that means he's not mentally ill.
Okay.
Right?
So his mental illness is a pretense.
It's totally a pretend. It's his way of having another thing to protect him if he ever does get charged. Because he can say, oh, well, I'm mentally ill. I didn't know what I was doing. He knows what he's doing.
So, but if somebody is mentally ill, they can still be accountable for their crimes.
Absolutely.
But he's not getting accountable.
No, he's not. Because I think it's because of who his father is. I think it's because of how manipulative he is. There are people that literally love this man. They've seen a different side of him than what we've seen. You know, we both know he's able to put on those crocodile tears.
Oh, yes, exactly.
And just, you know, be so convincing. But once you see, for me, like, once you see that look behind those tears, that evil, malicious grin, you can never unsee it. Right.
Wow.
But I think we should pray.
All right.
That the truth gets revealed. You get justice in every way. And
Yeah.
that other women will come forward about any abuse that they have in their lives regarding anybody.
Exactly.
And that we are here to support them.
Amen. You want to pray?
Yeah, I can pray.
All right.
Dear God, I just thank you so much for this brave, incredible, strong, brilliant woman. God, I thank you for this friend of mine who is standing up to her abuser. She's standing firm, God, on the truth, and she is, in a lot of ways, being attacked in this country. God, I just pray that you would vindicate for her right now in Jesus' name, that things will start to turn around for her, that she will get the justice that she deserves. I also pray, God, that the truth will just be revealed. God, you are the last and final judge. I pray for strength and protection over this wonderful woman. And I thank you that even what the enemy meant for evil, you turned it for good. I appreciate this friend of mine. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for your wonderful prayer, Miss Tamara. I wanted to emphasize something on the Bible because God is a God of vindication. He said that we must cast all our cares to Him, and He will take our burdens, and He will fight our battles, and we shall hold our peace. I'm literally feeling like I am holding my peace right now, and God Almighty is fighting my battle. And whosoever is digging a hole to bury me, you
gonna fall in.
Guess what? God is gonna make all of you go in that pit and never rise up again. This is biblical. In the book of Psalms, it's there. When David, the king, was praying to God to protect him against his enemies, he was praying in the book of Psalms. If you read the book of Psalms, Psalms 35, Psalms 91, all the book of Psalms, literally all the chapters, is where King David was praying to God, thanking God, worshiping God, and praying against his enemies. Guess what? You enemies, God will put you down to that hole that you have dug for the people that you are abusing.
I think too, if I can just say one last thing. I personally feel like when someone is losing a battle, when they know that they're being exposed, when they know that they can no longer run from the things that they've done to people, you know, they start grasping at every straw that they can find. And, you know, my hope and my prayer is that, you know, any abuser, any person that's done something wrong will just come clean.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, you can't run from God.
And get help.
You can't run from God.
Come clean and get help.
And you can never fully be forgiven until you admit you're wrong.
Exactly.
You can't be. You just can't.
How could you say that, oh, I repented, God forgave me, if you did not ask for forgiveness and confess your sins and be forgiven by people that you offended?
Yeah.
Like some people are just delusional. Oh, I'm gonna go to church, I'm gonna confess. Like, go back to the person you wronged, you ask for forgiveness, and then you can pray and ask for forgiveness to God, because it's being hypocritical when you say that I'm just gonna, ask for forgiveness to God. And what about the victim that you abused? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of manipulation going on, and which is psychologically intertwined and stuff, and with also spiritual abuse and all that. But I do thank you, Miss Tamara. Do you have any last word to say?
Just that my heart is heavy. I feel like, he has been attacking a lot of people.
Okay.
You and me and another girl that will be named, and many more. But, my heart is heavy because of the evilness, and I could just feel it. Like, it's so evil and so disturbing. But I also have, like, an emotional peace right now that I really feel like God is going to come through.
Well,
and that we're going to get the justice that you deserve and the justice I deserve.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. I love you, all people out there. This is Bree. This is Tamara. This is Still Life Abuse. I love you with all my heart. Peace.
Bye.
We live at very difficult times in our world these days, where good is bad and where bad is good, where good people like you and I have been oppressed by the evildoers, and where evildoers have been endorsed by the devil to oppress good people like you and I. Do you know why they hate us? Because we got God by our side, and we have truth, and the truth is of God. Let me communicate something to you, evildoers. What's this for? For what? For money? We shall all leave money behind the grave. Shame on you, evildoers. To good people out there, people of God who stand by truth, who has truth and light of God, I want to leave you with a word of encouragement that is found on the book of Isaiah 54:17. That says, no weapon formed against you will prosper, and you will condemn every tongue that rises against you in judgment. Guess what? We will judge the evildoers. Any tongue that is rising against us right now at Judgment Day, we shall condemn. I love you, good people. Let's stand for what's right. Let's stand for truth, because truth has power to do one thing, to set us free. I love you with all my heart. This is Bree. Stay tuned.